From a mega project that wasted millions of dollars in U.S. taxpayer money,
buried underneath the loop and costing you hundreds of millions of dollars,
to the world's longest cable-stayed bridge that hardly has any cars to cross. The world is full of numerous useless mega projects that wasted millions and billions of dollars. Today we are going to show you some of the most useless mega projects in the world. Don't forget to watch till the end, as we have included some of the most prominent ones you don't want to skip. Number 6. Block 37 Superstation, Chicago. Carrying millions of passengers every day, the U.S. subway system is no joke, and the Chicago Transport Authority decided to take it to another level with its grand plan for a superstation. With this ambitious mega project, CTA wanted to build something that would significantly cut down the travel time between the Loop, O'Hare, and Midway airports, providing a faster alternative to normal Blue Line journeys. The concept for this superstation was to have a train route between the two stations that did not require any other stops. But no matter how impressive it may sound, the results aren't anywhere near to anything like that. The whole mega project turned out to be a $400 million waste of taxpayers' money, and the tax-paying citizens of Chicago got absolutely nothing from this ambitious undertaking. The project was eventually abandoned after several questions were raised about the project's cost, funding sources, and whether it was even possible to pull off such a massive undertaking. But after more than a decade, hope arose for the citizens of Chicago when the tech giant Elon Musk decided to take on this project with The Boring Company. The plan is to build tunnels between the two stations, which will use a special type of self-driving vehicle built on Tesla chassis. The vehicles will move through tunnels at speeds as high as 150 miles per hour on a concrete track and complete the journey in 12 minutes, which is 3 to 4 times faster than existing alternatives, such as the Chicago Transit Authority Blue Line. But as of now, nothing more than the initial excitement could have been seen. At the moment, all that is left of the superstation is a massive incomplete construction hiding underneath Block 37 that very few people have ever seen. Number 5. Tianduxing, China's replica of Paris. What do you expect to get from a replica of one of the most visited places in the world that is located in China? Busy streets, a large crowd of tourists, and a booming local economy, right? Well, this was the vision for Tianduxing that never came to pass. Tianduxing is just one of many other Chinese attempts to replicate the physical appearance of other popular places in the world. China's Paris even goes as far as having a whole 300-foot Eiffel Tower of its own. What would Paris be without the Eiffel Tower, after all? The artists and engineers that worked on this project ensured that it was as close to the real thing as possible with its cobblestone streets and Renaissance fountain. Sadly, the dream for Tianduxing never came through. With all the work put into the project, the expected crowds never came. Just a few people are occasionally spotted strolling the boulevards. The biggest failure in the execution of this project was in the location. The location of China's Paris is quite isolated from the urban areas of China, and most importantly, public transportation. Quickly before we move on, make sure you like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Number 4. Russky Bridge. As absurd as they are, ghost towns are quite common, so here is one you may have never heard of. Does the most popular ghost bridge in the world sound fun? Going from Vladivostok to Russky Island. The Russky Bridge is one of the largest spans of cable-stayed bridges in the world at a length of 1,104 meters, which is over 36,000 feet. In September 2012, the construction of the Russky Bridge was a major highlight of the year in Russia. Everything about the Russky Bridge, from its construction down to the result, is an absolute wonder. The 4-lane bridge cost approximately $1.1 billion to construct and was completed in just 4 years. Well, while the Russky Bridge has managed to put its name in the history books, this is where its story ends. Looks like the only reason for this massive construction was to aid the transportation of delegates for the 2012 APEC summit between Vladivostok and the loosely populated Russky Island. But here's the fun part. Despite being designed to hold as many as 50,000 cars, only 1,000 or fewer cars and tourist buses have used this magnificent piece of engineering. As a result, this is believed to be a huge miss in terms of the return on investment. Number 3. Yujiapu, China's failed replica of New York. Like the super train station in Chicago, the idea of building a replica of New York City and Tianjin, China, sounded like a very bright one on the surface. While pitching this idea, it was most likely considered the greatest thing since sliced bread. Sadly, in reality, this idea was very far from being anything good, let alone great. Yujiapu started running in 2009. Initially, the Chinese government hoped to build a large-scale financial district that would have huge benefits for the economy. Everything from financial services to financial reform and innovation would stem from this area and revitalize the economy of North China. While this mega project has found its way to a list of useless projects for obvious reasons, it was the kind of project that could have been a good tourist attraction for people coming from other parts of the world. On the contrary, however, the Ujiapu Financial District has been reduced to nothing more than what most would describe as a ghost town. Over time, the lack of occupants in all the grade A office buildings in this region has surged, as people have lost faith in the dream of a bubbling New York replica that would have everything from talent to big brand advertising and huge crowds of employees leaving their offices at 5 p.m. every day. While China's Manhattan is not the creepiest place on earth, there is no doubt that it feels nothing like the busy nights and days that never sleep in New York City. Despite successfully replicating the views of massive skyscrapers, well-lit roads at night, and neon signs on buildings, there is no one occupying these high-rise buildings or using the well-paved roads. What Ujiapu does is merely copy the physical aesthetic of Manhattan, New York. And as for the life and energy that are characteristic of New York, China's replica is nowhere close to the real thing. Number 2. Forest City, Malaysia. For a mega project that was worth about $100 billion, Forest City sadly did not live up to the buzz surrounding it. First off, the dream of building a forest city only became a reality after the purchase of various lands inside and nearly outside Malaysia. Also, Forest City was built to stand out as the center for commercial and financial operations, to compete against rivals like Singapore and other countries within and outside Asia. As a result, you would expect some really impressive results. However, that was not the case, although this mega project was able to see some remarkable returns at its initial stages. The story took a different turn shortly after. In 2017, after Beijing implemented restrictions on the outflow of capital, things went pretty downhill in the Forest City. Sales got so bad that developers decided to pull out. As of early 2020, the number of people living in the Forest City was not up to 500, and that is saying something for a masterpiece that was built to contain about 700,000 people. All things considered, this seems like a pretty big waste of $100 billion. Number 1. Spanish Ciudad Airport. Of all the mega projects on our list so far, no one would ever really expect to see an airport on this list. So, what happened to the billion-euro Ciudad Airport? Under normal circumstances, you would usually expect an airport that cost €1 billion to last for a lifetime or two. However, the Ciudad Airport only lasted 3 years before it was completely shut down. But it gets worse. In a surprisingly short lifespan, the Ciudad Airport hosted just 2 low-cost carriers, and one of these 2 was subsidized by the Spanish government. So even after spending such a huge sum on this project, the government was still throwing funds to subsidize flights. The Ciudad Airport was built to take on a large crowd of 2 million passengers every year. In fact, according to expansion plans, the government hoped that the number would go as high as 10 million. Well, these were all dreams that never came through. After a lack of passenger traffic caused the airport to shut down, the facility began to fall apart in disrepair. An airport that cost $1 billion to build was put up for sale at a miserly €89 million price tag. There were several rejected bids, including one for €10,000 offered by a group of investors. The airport ended up being sold for just €56.2 million. At the moment, there is still no news of any scheduled flights to or from the airport. It now serves merely as a maintenance and storage facility. Make sure you like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos.